$5 doesn't get you much these days, but that's how much Auckland rents have fallen. The average rental in the super city is $670, the same as in the Bay of Plenty.
A lot more stock, a lot more opportunity for tenants, definitely a tenants marketplace. I think some properties have almost dropped $100, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms.
Auckland landlords are cutting rent to find tenants. For the first time in a decade, rental listings in Auckland have flooded the market, up 15% year-on-year. Properties that used to rent in days now sit vacant for weeks. Landlords who spent years raising rent without hesitation are suddenly negotiating. Tenants have power for the first time since 2015. This is Auckland's rental market experiencing something it hasn't seen in over 10 years.
Very expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
An actual decline. Part of what economists are calling one of the biggest national rent drops in 30 years. Picture this. You're a landlord with a townhouse in West Auckland. You've been charging $650 a week. Your tenant gives notice. You list it at $650. A week goes by, nothing. 2 weeks, still nothing. You drop it to $620, then $600. Eventually, you find a tenant at $580, $70 less than 6 months ago. This exact scenario is playing out across Auckland right now. In some areas, rents have dropped nearly 10% from their peak. Landlords who thought they could keep pushing prices higher are discovering tenants simply have too many other options. Auckland's residential rental market is experiencing notable oversupply. Total rental listings have grown 10% over the past 8 weeks alone. That's on top of being 15% higher than last year. The pipeline of newly completed townhouses and apartments just keeps adding rental stock to a market that's already saturated. So the question burning in every Auckland landlord's mind, how much further can rents fall, and how long will this last? I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening in Auckland's rental market, why rents are falling for the first time in a decade, what's driving this oversupply crisis, and what this means for landlords and tenants. If rents can fall this quickly in Auckland, where they've done nothing but climb for over a decade, something fundamental has shifted. Auckland's rental market saw rents drop for the first time since 2015. Some Auckland areas saw rents fall nearly 10% from their peak. Auckland had the highest rents in the country, $631 per week on average. Landlords collecting $700 a week are now accepting $650. Properties that commanded $800 are going for $720. Rental listings have exploded. Total available rental listings on TradeMe are 31% higher than May 2024. May 2024 itself was 41% higher than May 2023. Total rental listings have grown 10% over 8 weeks. They're 15% higher than last year. The pipeline of newly completed townhouses and apartments has flooded the market faster than tenants can absorb it. How did Auckland go from one of the tightest rental markets in the country to this oversupply nightmare? 3 forces collided. First, the construction boom finally delivered. Auckland's been consenting and building thousands of townhouses and apartments. Developers who started projects in 2021 and 2022 finally finished in 2024 and 2025. Problem is, by the time they completed, the market had completely changed. Townhouses make up 10 to 15% of Auckland property listings, way higher than the 4% national average. New builds comprise 25% of Auckland listings. All of this new supply hit at exactly the wrong time. Second, demand collapsed. Net overseas migration fell to 2.5-year lows. We went from 100,400 net migrants in March 2024 to just 26,400 in March 2025. That's a 74% decrease. The international students and young professionals who used to fill rental properties aren't arriving in the same numbers. And first-home buyers started leaving the rental pool. By late 2025, 29% of Auckland purchases were first-home buyers. These are people who would have been renting. Now they're buying. That's removing hundreds of tenants from the rental market every month. Third, landlords who couldn't sell are now renting. When the property sales market flattened, many Auckland developers and investors who wanted to sell couldn't find buyers, so they listed as rentals instead. Holiday homes and Airbnbs also moved to long-term rental. Behind all these statistics are actual landlords watching their investment strategy completely fall apart. Imagine you're a mom and dad investor. You bought a townhouse in Westgate in 2021 for $850,000. You borrowed $680,000. That's 80% LVR. Back then, mortgage rates were around 3%, and you were charging $650 a week in rent. Your mortgage payment was maybe $3,200 monthly. Fast forward to late 2024. Your mortgage has refixed at 6%. Now you're paying $4,070 monthly. That's an extra $870 per month. Your insurance premium jumped from $1,800 annually to $2,500. Healthy homes compliance costs. Rates have gone up. You were barely breaking even at $650 a week. Now you need $700 just to cover increased costs. Except you can't, because there are 3 other identical townhouses in your street, all listed for $600 a week, still sitting vacant after 6 weeks. So you drop your price to $580. You're now losing $300 to $400 every month just to keep a tenant in the property. The alternative? Leave it vacant and lose even more. Competition between landlords has driven prices down. Landlords who used to set the terms are now negotiating. Tenants can actually be picky. They're asking for pets, requesting maintenance, negotiating lower rent. After years of relentless rent increases, Auckland renters are finally seeing relief. The renter panic that defined 2021 through 2023 has eased. Tenant competition dropped. Growing supply, including pet-friendly leases, has given tenants more choice. Negotiating is possible for the first time in a decade. But let's be clear, rents are still incredibly high. Nearly 28.4% of renting households spent 40% or more of income on housing. Over half of renters said their income was not enough or only just enough for everyday needs. Average weekly rent in Auckland was still $631 per week. That's the highest in the country. A 10% drop still leaves many paying over half their income on rent. Most economists predict rents will rise again in 12 to 18 months. The sharp slowdown in new housing developments means future supply will tighten. Mike Jones from BNZ says what happens depends on population growth. If net migration picks back up, demand could strengthen quickly. But there are serious headwinds. Auckland's development pipeline has thinned. Projects canceled or postponed. Job market uncertainty remains the biggest concern. Auckland's rental market experienced its first annual decline in a decade, part of one of the biggest national rent drops in 30 years. Some areas fell nearly 10% from peak. Listings up 15% year on year. Landlords charging $650 to $700 weekly now accept $580 to $600. Properties rent in days now sit vacant for weeks. For landlords, brutal. Mortgage costs doubled while rental income fell. Many lose $300 to $400 monthly. For tenants, first relief after years of increases. But rent's still incredibly high. Auckland remains most expensive. Looking ahead, rents likely rise again in 12 to 18 months. But job market uncertainty could keep the market soft longer. Auckland's rental market shifted from landlord's market to tenant's market practically overnight. For anyone watching Auckland property for the past decade, that's a massive change. If this helped you understand Auckland's rental crash, hit like and subscribe button and press the bell icon so you will never miss any update. We're tracking every shift, every turn. Drop a comment if you also seeing rents drop. Also tell me, should I start covering Wellington housing market or stick to the Auckland region? Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next report.